Welcome back, Explorer. Thank you for tuning in to this video. The following is an interview with Ksenia Ozkok, also known as Space Ksenia. She's an expert in personal branding, a founder, entrepreneur, has worked in the space industry for many years, and she's a leading voice in the space industry. So I really look forward to this interview. It's full of insights for your personal branding, for how the space sector works, how we can stand out in the space sector. So have fun. Before we start, I want to give a quick shout out to Wishmore Hotels in Istanbul. They were very kind, providing us with enough room and space for interviews. They were very kind and forthcoming. So thank you for that. And now have fun watching the video. Welcome everyone to a new YouTube video. Today you're finally gonna meet my dear mentor Ksenia, who I talked about for like weeks. We're in this beautiful, what's it called again?
Wishmore Hotel.
Wishmore Hotel in Istanbul. And we will talk about space and entrepreneurship, personal branding. So stick around for this awesome video and thank you for tuning in. So thank you, Ksenia, for taking your time.
Thank you for visiting us in Istanbul.
Yeah, it's very amazing. It's like I've never been here, and it feels like the city has such a unique vibe. It's like the history on one point, then all the traffic, of course. Yeah. So you have to imagine when you walk 5 minutes, you get further than when you drive 5 minutes. So think about it when you're visiting Istanbul. And yeah, I'm very excited that we finally meet after our rebranders course, which was like 6 months ago.
Yes.
So it's quite a while. And I would say, let's get started.
Let's do it.
Okay. And because I'm old, I have written it down because I can't remember anything. So the first thing I want to ask you is, you didn't just wake one day up and was like, okay, I want to go into space. So what was your moment that you thought, okay, I'm working right now some kind in the space sector, but you know what? The space sector is missing its personal brand. What was that moment, or was it a moment where you said, okay, the space sector needs more personal brand?
Yeah. I think it's important to start with a story, actually, how I got into the space sector, which was super unplanned, unexpected. I think it just, came into my life and I didn't expect that. So I used to work for Siemens and communications, and I've been already for many years in communications throughout, like I worked in different companies. And at the same time, I was in my master's program on like doing international development at the University of Vienna. And when you're a student at the international development department, every day what we talked about was United Nations and United Nations Development Officer and all those kind of things. So for me, UN was just like part of my life at this point. And I just felt one day, hey, maybe I should apply and try to get a job at UN. I had a pretty solid position at Siemens at that time. And Siemens is a great company. You have lots of benefits. Everything is like super great. You have an amazing life.
Yeah.
But at some point I just thought, okay, why not? Let me try. So I applied for many different positions at that time, which I just found on the website of United Nations, since in Vienna we had the head office of United Nations. It was pretty practical. I just applied to different internships, whatever was somehow connected to my skills in direction of communications or marketing, something with this background. And I applied and I didn't hear anything for several months. I was like, okay, and at that time I already started to get like more interesting projects at Siemens. So everything was so good. And this is like so paradoxical in life. I think that whenever you start feeling more comfortable, something out of the blue just comes into your life and makes you decide on very important things. And I remember myself, I was sitting at the university at that day. It was a really boring lecture. So what I was doing, I was just emptying my spam folder in my email. And I see this email from sender UNOOSA. I'm like, what's this weird? Like, definitely spam. And then the moment where I was deleting this email, it just like made a click. Oh, I see there are two letters that I know, UN, United Nations, but what does it mean Outer Space Affairs Office? Like, what is it? I couldn't understand that, but it was an invitation. Apparently, I applied, which I don't remember. And I've heard later on that probably they found my resume in the pool of other resumes. And when they needed someone, they would go there and would see, okay, is this the person with the skill set that we're looking for right now? And it was very interesting that they needed a communications person at that point because they received like great funding for a certain project. It was space for water, how space technology can help water management. And they wanted to start this platform in the framework of United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs. So they needed someone who's in communications who would help them to launch this one. And it was me and a few other candidates. So I got into the interview and I did it good apparently. So they offered me 2 month internship and I
Unpaid?
was unpaid.
Okay.
Yes. And then compare, like I had great projects at Siemens. I've been there for like around 2 years already. I was really hesitant because I was thinking, yeah, but now I do the things at Siemens, something what I've really wanted to do. So I was very hesitant and it was really risky. And I'm like, just 2 months. And then, you know what happened? I calculated all the hours that I did too much in at Siemens. And I realized that actually I have worked for Siemens so much that I could take 2 months holiday.
Okay, wow.
And then I would come back. So I talked to my boss and she said, okay, really? You have like 2 months over like working hours? I'm like, yes. So potentially I could take an academic holiday or something like that. And then we asked the boss who was on a higher position. And then the boss said that you need to decide either Siemens or UN.
Really?
I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm quitting. And the thing is, because I had so many hours that I worked for, so I could just quit next week and I didn't have to come again. So it was pretty risky, but I must say thank you to my friends, my family, my mom specifically, and my boyfriend at that time, who is now my husband, for supporting me to taking this step. So this is how I got into UN. And, you know, as soon as I was there, I was so inspired by the vision of these people. They were all like a bit crazy, but in positive sense.
I feel that, yeah.
I mean, you're also in the space sector, so you know
And I'm
these
also
people.
crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy, right? And this like positive weirdness of the people where they introduce you to someone and they say, oh, this person is building on like or working on a project and they're building an elevator to go to the moon. I'm like, should I laugh right now? Is it a joke or should I like congratulate? So it was such a different perspective and mindset shift in general on how you can see things that are happening around you on a daily basis. So I was there doing this space communications. And then there was this something that I realized at UN. We had lots of conferences happening about technical sessions for the space sector or like sessions on law and so on. And I would see all these people, super high level, like ministers of different countries, politicians, UN ambassadors. And it was very intimidating at some point. But also what I noticed that I would like whenever there was a conference, I would get a new job offer to do marketing for them. So I felt like, that's weird. I don't have a skill set for the space industry specifically. My bachelor, I studied business, and then like from experience point of view, I was always in marketing communications. I'm like, why do I get the job constantly? But at the same time, I was meeting so many talented people who are so much smarter than I am, but they were struggling to get a job. They were struggling to find clients. They were struggling to get get a higher role in their career. And this is where I realized that that how important marketing was, how important it is to just like showcase whatever you're doing. So, and this was the point when I didn't directly started this personal branding program, but this was definitely the first touch point of understanding the value of branding for people. So
you mentioned like all this high skill set people working on enormous projects, and some of them are also very serious, and the people are also very serious working on the project. So what can people do in this serious space project where there's lots of money involved, months of responsibility? How can they stand out with their brand, or how can they find the unique sides of themselves that just separates them from everybody else?
Finding the unique side is, I would say, again, it's very paradoxical, because on the one hand, you're doing something that's supposed to be super simple. It's just being yourself and embracing your true personality, your authentic self. And on the other hand, this is one of the most difficult jobs, I think, because it's so much easier to follow the patterns of the people that we admire, the role models, I don't know, actors, presidents, whoever your role model is, right? These influencers or influential figures in general. And it is so much easier to kind of like look at these people and see, okay, what are the characteristics that I like about them? What is their tone of voice? Maybe I could do similar thing because we are vibing, obviously, since this is my role model.
Yeah.
But actually, it is so much more difficult to just embrace yourself and be yourself, whatever you are doing. And this is where the most people struggle, as I see in my clients as well, because again, I'm so privileged to work with some of the smartest people of the world. And so many of them come to me and say that, Ksenia, I understand that I have the potential to be there, but I'm still here. And I still feel that after, I don't know, 15 years of being in the industry or 15 years of being in my career, I still feel like I'm not enough. And I still don't trust myself, showcasing whatever I'm doing, showing my opinion leadership or sharing my opinion leadership with the world. What can I do, right? And this is where we start going on this personal branding journey. And again, like, there is a misconception. People feel like personal branding is just about social media posts, it's just to, I don't know, to promote yourself, but it's not about it at all. It's just what we see on the surface. But actually it is so much deeper, and there are so many aspects of personal branding that people first need to work on and to really go into depths of that. And the more time you spend at this initial phase, because I have this like, it's like an easy algorithm. First, you're building your foundation. Then the second step is you're building out your personal brand, your positioning. The third one, you start communicating it to the world. And then you see how it can align with my monetization strategy, right? And how can I shape my personal brand in this direction and to get the best benefits out of that. And the more time you spend on this foundation phase, the more successful you become, and the faster you will reach all the goals that you have. So to stand out, embrace yourself, embrace your powers, and just don't be afraid to be who you are. And don't think that these CEOs who are, right now, I don't know, presenting on the stage, like Jensen Huang, or I don't know, Alex Hermosi, or someone that you feel inspired by, don't think that they're much better than you. They are just faster, and they are maybe, they were able to understand and realize early enough that the way they are, it's their biggest power.
Yeah. And I think they also embrace it more, and they're not afraid of people judging them. They're more like, okay, that's who I am. If you like it, welcome. If you don't like it, we don't match. And I think to be judged is something that people nowadays fear more than actually getting hurt. To be excluded socially or be excluded in another way. And since I started my entrepreneurial journey a few weeks or months ago, I would like to know, what's the number one mistakes entrepreneurs make when they want to establish their personal brand?
Trying to please everyone, trying to establish a brand that's extremely neutral, because they're, as you mentioned correctly, they're afraid of being judged. So they try to share whatever they want to share according to their product, service, their branding in general, their opinion leadership. They try to share the things that are not necessarily unique, and they try to be on a safe side, I would say, and try to really serve everyone. But when you are trying to please everyone, it's just not going to work, because and this is again because they try to be liked by everyone. So it's very dangerous zone. And when you try to really, just be on the safe side and so on, you're never gonna get your people, like your crowd. So here is really important to say, okay, this is who I am. These are my opinions. If you don't like it, I don't care. Just don't care about it. Of course, it is difficult and it's easier to say. And I've been there as well. I was also at a point for years, actually, where I was thinking, okay, maybe I should not share this, or maybe this is too bold, or what would my colleagues think? What would my clients think? What would my people think? And so on. So now, I've been there for a longer time, and I started to understand that the people who are really my biggest supporters are the ones who are appreciating me the way I am, right? And the opinions I have and my quirks and so on, right? So this is the biggest mistake and the biggest challenge, I think, for people.
Yeah. Since space is very serious and people are maybe new to it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think personal branding per se is quite new in the space sector, because you have all these government organizations and they don't care about personal brand. They're just working in these high-stake jobs. But also on the other side, we see the rise of space influencers. So what do you think personal branding will be in space in, let's say, 3 to 5 years?
I dream about these days. I think it's about generations as well. So right now, mostly in the space sector at the high level positions, we have boomers.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the time, you know, no matter, like, we cannot stop time. So it is running, and more people from Gen Z will be, more involved in the space industry. Now the shift is going to happen already with the millennials that have a better understanding and importance of personal branding. But if we talk about Gen Z, who is the next generation that are going to replace us, me as well, it is so important to build your personal brand, because Gen Z don't buy anymore the silly ads. They don't buy anymore when you start like influencing them too much. They don't buy anymore. You say that this is a great product and like whatever it is. They really value authenticity, and they're gonna be with you whether as a client or as an employee. They're gonna be with you only if they trust you. But how can you show trust? So it is much easier and much more important to try to share the trust, not through the companies or through products, but actually through the people who are behind all of it, whether it is team members, executives, business development managers, very important, very key people, right, in any business, in any organization, but specifically in the space sector. So they need these key people of influence, who are going to share the message of trust, the message of hope, the message of credibility, so that this next generation can, not next generation, the current generation, actually, they're already replacing us slowly, to be able to work with them. So I think this is how it's going to change. More CEOs, more executives, they will go on a journey of personal branding for sure, because like you standing in front of a teleprompter, it's not going to be enough anymore. And now it is already becoming difficult. But those people who will take these bold steps on sharing more messages raw, more messages with no filter, more messages just like having this conversation, long form conversation. They're the people who are going to succeed. And if they succeed, then their businesses, their companies are going to succeed.
When you're speaking of messages, since I'm establishing my company and it's a space tourism company, what do you think a company like Stellaris needs to make like space tourism, which is a quite new field, for people irresistible? That you think, I have to get to this company, I have to book, I have to be part of that brand? What message do you think the company needs to draw people?
I would start with myself, in this case with yourself. What is the message that draw you to be part of the space sector? And this is something that's very relevant because, again, we cannot just, please everyone. Again, we cannot find this perfect message that would fit to everyone. But when you are able to find this, this specific message, this specific pain that people are, let's say, having right now, right, that you had as well, that you experienced as well, because you obviously wanted to go into space like for many years, right? And then at some point you did this, you started this journey. So I think whenever you realize what is it that you really want or what is it that would make you really jump on this opportunity, this will be a winner, and then of course in the beginning it will be difficult. You cannot expect that all people will jump immediately on this idea. You will need some time to convince, to educate people about what you do and to make them fall in love with your idea. And this you can only do if you share your passion, if you share your energy, your motivation about like what are the thoughts behind. So it is very personal. You can hire the best marketer and they will suggest you top 5, top 10 best messages. But if it doesn't resonate with you, none of them gonna work.
Space tourism is something that people often link with going out to space, like floating in zero gravity and just going inside a rocket, sleep for 2 hours, wake up on the moon. And right now we're at a point where we have like not only astronauts from like government organizations, but also private astronauts, like inspiration for private people. And do you think that for these commercial astronauts, the personal brand to qualify as a commercial astronaut is as important or more important than for influencers and entrepreneurs?
I mean, it really depends. I had clients who are commercial astronauts. And the thing is, for example, if you consider Turkey as well, we recently sent our first astronaut to space, right? Alper Gazarafci. And now he is everywhere, right? Today we saw the campaign literally here next to Taksim, right? We saw him. And of course, it is important. I would not say that there is a big difference in terms of, okay, does a commercial astronaut needs more personal branding rather than the governmental one? It doesn't matter. I think in general, an astronaut needs personal branding just because they are the role model for thousands and hundreds of thousands of kids and people in general. Because who are the astronauts? They are heroes, right? They're heroes, they're role models, they give hope, they give inspiration to this youth, and to kids. So in general, they need personal branding, but I wouldn't say that someone needs it more or not. I just believe that it's their task to work on their personal branding because they carry so much on their shoulders, and we want people to see the impact that they're creating. Even, I mean, going to space, it's not just fun. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of stress to your body, right? So they deserve to share their experiences, and also people deserve to hear about their experiences. But if there is someone who went into space and he doesn't have, or like this person doesn't have an audience, then I think it's just sad because they're keeping their experience just for themselves. And I think it is not fair.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Since you're talking about establishing something new and experiencing something new, that it should be for everyone. That's also what the channel is about. For people who try to build something that sounds completely ridiculous. And you did that often. You had you have a with part of a startup, you have a beauty salon, I think, and you have Rebrand Academy where we met. What was your biggest, okay, what the hell am I even doing moment in, let's say, the last 5 years when you built something? They just sat at a table and be like, okay, I don't have any idea if this is gonna work, but I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, definitely. I have it all the time. I still think a lot like, why did I even start that? Why did I do that? And then at some point again, I think we all have this highs and lows in life when we're just reflecting at what we're doing and questioning ourselves, what the hell am I doing? But then, and then let's say today you have this point of view on this, and then the next day something positive happens. For example, you receive a great review from one of your clients, or you see I don't know, something that you worked on and it's turned out to be very successful. Or like you see that some of the people who've been around you, they see you in this role that you already like feel like you're blurred, you don't really like recognize it anymore. And then you have some feedback from people. They're like, oh, you're doing that, like this inspired me so much. And then you again get to the point where you say, maybe it was really good that I started that. So I really think that it's all about trying something new, being inspired, appreciating the slow moments as well, that give you new energies, that give you new motivation to do it in a different way. Because if something didn't work out, then you are more motivated to do something else. So I think it's life. And often, of course, I question myself still, like, why did I do that? Maybe it was smarter to not have done that. But then when I zoom out a bit and when I see in the from another perspective, I would say, hey, I'm so happy that I actually did it. What about you? Do you have some moments of like,
all the
what
time,
am I doing?
every day?
Yeah.
It's like you open up your laptop in the morning and then you're just doing work, and then after 2 hours I stare at my computer screen and I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I have no clue if this is ever gonna work out, because I'm also someone who has like very high standards for himself and has the bad habit of always moving the goalpost to the next goal. So when I'm reaching my goal, I'm not like, yeah, I reached the goal. I'm like, yeah, okay, where's the next goal? Yeah. And in the course I made from you, there's also a complete chapter dedicated to imposter syndrome. And we had this talk often privately on the call. And I, for myself, I know I'm very, very influenced by my imposter syndrome. I'm sure you are too, in some kind. So when you are dealing with it, is the one most best tool for you to just not get rid of it, but to accept it and just say, okay, that's the day, that's my imposter talking, but I'm not gonna stop.
Yeah, I think in this moments again, it's important to shift the focus from yourself towards your mission. That is why it's really important to have something higher than yourself, to do something greater for people. And I believe that, again, I really believe that everyone has it. Even the people who say, no, I don't have an imposter syndrome, I still feel like that they have at least some days in a year,
hopefully,
where they where they really like struggle with that as well. Just because we're all humans. And I think in those moments, if you think of if you reflect on your why did I actually start that? for the sake of doing a business or for the sake of something greater, for the sake of something bigger. And this is, I believe, the best tool, just to get back to your core, to ask yourself, why is it that I'm doing? Why did I start that? And then when you feel like you have a much bigger mission than just talking all the time to yourself and thinking, oh, I have this imposter syndrome, maybe I shouldn't do it, maybe I should have never started that. I think when you have this goal, when you have this mission, then you're like, okay, I don't care. I don't care about whoever is going to judge me. I don't care about that. I have great cases. I have clients who constantly tell me thank you for what I've done, for who are appreciative about the work that they've conducted with me. So I just think about that, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't have to serve to everyone. Whoever needs my help, whoever needs my support, I'm always there and I'm open to that. And let's work with these people.
Yeah, and I think that someone that stands really out for you is that not like, okay, when you have the people, because you're very selective with your course, and that's very good, I think. When the course is ending, to find people, I don't know if it's a talent or if it's the universe speaking, it's like you have the talent to bring the perfect people together at the perfect time. Just like this right now, it's like 6 months ago, we barely knew each other.
Hunger is nodding behind the camera.
And it's just like people work together after the course has ended. And also you say like, they can reach out to me if they need something or when they want to talk business, and you're completely open about it. And I think that's something that makes you very unique. And I say that's the consulting or workshop business, when you want to call it like that, because I think that's very special. And yeah, it's, for me, I'm very impressed about it, because I was completely a different person last year at that time, completely. So what is like, it's the beginning of March, end of February, I was still in the military. I was a complete different person, complete different like values. And yeah, through the course, everything shifted. And yeah, I never would have imagined to be in Istanbul my first time and talk about space a year ago. So that shows me what people can do when they just believe.
Yes, and this is a great word that you use right now. I think belief is extremely important on a journey. And it's, first of all, you have to believe in yourself, and then the other people will believe in you. But I think what is special truly about our program is I am the biggest believer of people. And I think that even when there is a person who comes to me and they share their crazy idea with me, and if I can imagine it, then I think, okay, we're gonna do that. So if I can imagine, it means that I have strong belief, the strongest belief ever. And if I have that, I'm kind of, it's like planting a seed into this person, into my client, and giving them this belief. And this is when the whole magic happens. And I really strongly believe again that you need to have the right people around you, this environment, who will be the biggest cheerleaders for whatever you're doing. And only this way you can reach like something that seems impossible in the beginning. And yes, we really have amazing people in Rebrand Academy that have been taking our programs throughout the time. And I think really everyone is so special, and everyone is doing their mission. And that is why they're all connecting so well with each other. And this is a whole network, right? Because you realize, okay, this person is good in this person is going to bring you, I don't know, an opportunity. This person had the greatest experience on this kind of thing where you are struggling right now. So it's really important as well to be open-minded towards communicating with all these people, and to actually realizing how valuable it is that all these people are together in this in the group and using these opportunities. I think this is also important, because some people might see, okay, there are these opportunities, and some people might take them and they will succeed. But then there are some people also who, okay, see that it's there in front of you, but they're not necessarily going to take it.
So for the last question, I had two in mind, but for the one I already know the answer, because you told me you will never fly to Mars, you will want to stay here on Earth. So I take the other question. It's like everyone knows Elon Musk, especially in the space sector, and he recently said he wants to send rockets to Mars filled with Optimus robots. But from you now, I want a different rocket. So no satellites, no robots. You have to build a personal brand rocket. So what are the top 5 people you would put in the rocket to ensure wherever it lands, there will be the perfect personal brand is established?
Who people you mean, from the people in general in the
Influencers,
world?
entrepreneurs that you think you have the strongest personal brand.
Wow, that's a very interesting and great question. So it should be a mix of people that are great leaders and that are not just great in, you know, in their professional career, but that are having also other aspects, because personal branding is not just being successful about your career and just preaching it to people, but it's actually more about really connecting with other people about values, about your mission. It's for the bigger reason, right, why we do that. So I am really very much inspired by Stephen Bartlett, the host of the Diary of CEO podcast. I think he is a great inspiration in terms of personal branding, and he's the one of the biggest believers as well in personal branding. So he's been always my like beacon, kind of, you know, whenever I would think or like rethink my strategy.
Yeah.
Should I go into marketing for companies or should I keep to the personal branding? And he would always motivate me to continue doing personal branding specifically because of the people, and I love interesting people. I'm very much inspired by them, so he would definitely be one. The second person can be so the second person I would say,
We can make a smaller rocket with three people.
okay,
Yeah.
the second person, interesting. It's very difficult question. The second person,
Maybe someone who influenced you on your way the most.
probably I would go with, very difficult.
It's a rocket. It's expensive, so it has to be difficult.
Exactly, it's expensive. So who deserve to be there? Can we send just one person?
No. So I know you're also listening to Alex Hormozy.
Yeah, he definitely. I've been thinking now about him, but I'm just thinking who else would come next. So does it make sense for them, for the whole crew, to be together on there?
I think you're thinking too complicated.
Yeah, you know what? I think I would say the second person that would go into that crew would be Brené Brown.
Okay.
I really like her values, and she's been analyzing all this thing about imposter syndrome and all the psychological thinking of the people. So I would definitely pick her. The next person I would pick Alex Hormozy, because he's a great entrepreneur and his work ethics, and he's a great believer as well. So these three for sure together, very different people on one rocket.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And then,
But it's a strong crew.
It's a strong crew, yes.
It's a strong crew.
Who would you send?
Since I'm more influenced also by podcasts, I would say Chris Williamson from the Modern Wisdom podcast, because he's just like this. He has a very unique personal brand. He's very like the guy who makes his dream come true. He's a hard worker. He's very good. He's very experienced with business, but he's also very down to earth. And I can imagine him like when they are stranding on a different planet, that he's just building the fireplace and bringing everyone around and just, bringing the good vibe. And I love also his conversation with Alex Hormozi. So very
The
strong.
one that you sent me.
Yeah, very good.
That I didn't watch.
Yes, I'm very mad about it.
I will change that, I promise. And I have the fifth person.
Yeah.
Stadt guy.
Because who is it? For people who don't know.
Yeah, Stadt guy. Check out his Instagram page. Like, he's really incredible, and he created his role as Stadt guy, where he actually makes some fun about high-level societies, but he recently started to share more about manners, about the family values, about how to be an educated person, how to be a gentleman, what to do, what not to do, like kind of do's and don'ts in the society. And I really like his way of like treating people, the way of this cultural education and the set ethics in life. So I think he would make it would be like a cherry on the pie on this rocket, where he would also make sure that everyone values each other and they're all being very polite and so on. So I think it would be a perfect crew to thrive there and work on personal branding.
Perfect. But you will not be the pilot because you will not leave the planet.
No.
Okay.
I will wave from Earth.
Okay. Do you have a message for the people watching the channel, which is about my entrepreneurial journey or entrepreneurship in general?
Be brave. If you have a dream, believe in it and just start working on it. Because planning could be good, but execution is the key to get to your dream. So be brave and just do it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. It was a great conversation, and your question is now in my mind. I'm like, who are more people that I would
Maybe you can build a bigger rocket for 10 people.
Maybe. I'll definitely think about it.
Perfect.
Maybe later I can share it with you, or we can use it for the next episode.
Perfect. Thanks everyone for watching. So I will link down in the video description the Rebrand Academy, also the Wishmore Hotel in Istanbul.
Yes.
Thanks very much that you offer the space. It's really highly appreciated, and thank you for watching. I see you in the next one, and subscribe. See you in the next one.
Subscribe to the channel.